Okay, so let's see if we can answer this question. Basically, it is saying if we have a distribution where the mean is 270 and the standard deviation is 15, can we do anything with that? And what I'm trying to have you take away from this lesson is that once we are given the mean, which in this case is 270, and I've given you the standard deviation, which is 15, we're going to know some really interesting things. So if I take my distribution and I draw it where I put the mean in the middle, let's go up one standard deviation, which is going to be 270 plus 15, which is 285. And then we're going to go down one standard deviation. So if we take 270 minus 15, that's going to be 255. So what we've done is gone up in increments of the standard deviation. So this has been minus 15, this is plus 15. And if you can recall from our last video in this module, that what I'm asking you to trust me on, and then in the subsequent week we learn how we know this, is that there are 68% of people fall in between this standard deviation below the mean and the standard deviation above the mean. That's pretty amazing knowledge. So now I know where the majority of babies, or what day the majority of babies will be born. So what we're really asking you to think about here is calculate the 2 days, 1, 2, that tell you when most babies will come. And so 68% of babies, more than half of the babies, will arrive between 250 days and 285 days. So that's the answer to our question. So the first question is saying what is the lower of the two numbers? So that's going to be the 255. The next question says what is the higher of the two numbers, and so that one will be 285. Also, what I'd like you to take away from this is that if somebody, let's say, they give birth to their baby at 300 days, what I'd like for you to take away from this is that while that's unlikely, you can see that it's beyond this middle 68%, it's still possible to be pregnant for 300 days. So there's a difference between possible and probable. In this case, it's still possible to be pregnant for 300 days. Maybe it's not necessarily a likely event, but it's still possible. So you can't deny the fact that this man may be her father. So that's kind of the gist of what these questions are trying to get at. And my main point is that once you're given the mean and the standard deviation together, you have this really awesome information where you know where the middle 68% of people are. Most people, or more than half people, will be between one standard deviation below the mean and one standard deviation above the mean.